What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another AEW Dynamite review. Now, I wasn't expecting to upload a video anytime soon or today even, but I knew I needed to give you guys a video. I've been kind of MIA the last couple of days. If you don't know, I put in the community feed. Go check that out. I had a lot of personal stuff going on. That's why I wasn't sure if I could do reactions this week, but I'm going to give you guys an AEW Dynamite Week 5 review from Charleston, North Carolina. And my boys, this show, it definitely had the Halloween theme effect to it. You could tell that they're playing to some horror aspects. They had the whole Rick and Morty crossover going on this week, which I had questions about how they were going to pull it off, and they ended up doing a really good job with that. I'll get to that more into detail about how they established Rick and Morty into this AEW universe in such a great way. I thought it was fun. Your boy actually took some notes down, jotted some notes down, just that way I don't forget what really happened. In my opinion, I don't know if this was my favorite AEW Dynamite show. I felt like it was kind of okay, not lackluster, but you know, it kind of had its moments that I wasn't that big of a fan of. And I want to jump right into it. I know this is kind of out of order. I like going in order from the beginning of the show all the way to the end, but I want to start it off talking about the main event. Obviously, the tag team titles were going to be crowned between SCU, the finals of the AEW tag team tournament between SCU and the Lucha Brothers. Just got done watching it. I just want to jump into the main event. Then we will go in order because you know, that match, I was very excited for that match going into tonight. My opinion, the Lucha Bros, no offense to the Young Bucks, love the Young Bucks, but I feel like the Lucha Bros are the best tag team in professional wrestling today. And I think SCU is one of the top 5 best tag teams in the world as well. Scorpion Sky is fantastic. Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, hopefully he gets healthy really soon. Really looking forward to this match, but you could tell that this show was very rushed. I feel like the time limit that they have for the 2 hours, for whatever reason, the show kind of started late. I don't know if it started late for everybody else, but for me, it started like around 6 minutes after 5. I don't know if that was everybody else's issue, but for me, it was. I feel like they were really rushing these shows, and some of the segments and matches may have went on a little bit longer than expected. So I feel like the execution for today's show was a little bit messier than than the previous 4 shows that we've had. There was no entrances for SCU. There was no entrance for the Lucha Bros. They went right into this match directly right off the bat. They showed off those beautiful, beautiful titles. I love the AEW tag team titles. They're just spectacular. They're phenomenal. Love them. Match starts. It's all over the place. And I get it. Both these two teams, very athletic, very big moments, very big spots. But the biggest problem I had with this match is that it just felt not sloppy, but it just didn't, it felt like it had like no direction. It was just too much going on, too much not like bad back and forth action, but so much going on from the outside of the ring, from the inside of the ring. The ref had no control of it. It's one of those things with AEW where they don't really explain the rules of like disqualifications or, you know, your tag team partner having to be tag teamed in. There's no really counting like in other wrestling promotions, even not just WWE. You know, usually the ref gives like the certain amount of time for both tag partners to be in the ring at the same time. There was none of that. This match was literally all over the place, and some of the spots worked. Some of them looked kind of sloppy. Kazarian hit a beautiful move, but he landed head first right on the hardest part on the side of the ring. He looked like he was foggy and concussed. Big moments back and forth. The Lucha Bros looked fantastic as always. Back and forth action. Scorpion Sky, one of the best wrestlers in the game today. I've had the honor to watch him at Bar Wrestling. I think I've said that before in other AEW Dynamite reviews. But again, back and forth action, but just seemed not messy or sloppy. It just seemed like it was too much chaos. It was chaotic. That's the word I'm looking for. It was very chaotic of a main event that I was very much looking forward to. And for the match to end on a pretty much a roll-up, Scorpion Sky wins with an inside cradle. It was the ending was just anticlimactic. That's what the word I'm looking for as well. A very anticlimactic finish to a very much hyped match from a very great tag team tournament. Love Scorpion Sky. I love SCU, but I just seeing them win off an inside cradle. I feel those two teams are so good. We should have had a definite winners unless we're getting a rematch at Full Gear, which is in just 2 weeks or in a week actually. I think it's November 9th, or I could be wrong. But it's coming up. Unless we're getting a rematch then, I don't know if I really agreed with the SCU, and I love SCU. I don't agree with them winning by inside cradle, and I don't think the audience really enjoyed the ending of the match. There was a lot of silence, a lot of whispering between the audience when, you know, the 3 count was placed down off an inside cradle. In a match that was pretty much chaotic, had some great spots. You had Pentagon throwing Kazarian from the ring into like the ring bell table. That was a great start off a power bomb. You're thinking it's gonna be a 2-on-1 match. Again, I guess the time was coming in short. Scorpion Sky gets an inside cradle, 1, 2, 3, and you can kind of hear the gasp and kind of the confusion from the crowd. You know, I always love what AEW Dynamite has been doing, but that was one of the first few times that I kind of questioned that decision. I don't know if it was because of the time limit, because they were trying to wrap it up as quickly as possible, but I feel like those two tag teams, especially if you're crowning, it's the first ever tag team title match in AEW history. I just feel like that ending was anticlimactic. I know that was the ending of the match. I should have got an order, but I just wanted to get that out there. We'll circle back around and talk about it, but let's review the rest of the show. The show starts off with Cody coming off a private jet with Dustin Rhodes. Toni Schiavone picks him up. They get into a limo. They head to the stadium. I don't know why Dustin didn't join Cody and just come along with them. That was kind of confusing to me. And then we go right into the first match of the evening. Hangman Page versus Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy is a great talent. I think he's a great heel. You even had JR comparing Sammy to a young Eddie Guerrero. That is a huge compliment to give Sammy. I mean, a young Eddie, and it comes from JR himself. I think Sammy, if he ever does listen to that, he should put that on his YouTube channel, because there is no bigger compliment than be compared to one of the greatest of all times, Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. That was a huge compliment that JR gave him on TV, putting him hugely over. Sammy's a great heel, but he's also a great talent, great worker. This match, fantastic. Hangman, Sammy had great chemistry, back and forth action, some very loud, disrespectful slaps back and forth between the two of them, but Hangman looked fantastic. Hangman eventually, I believe he will end up becoming an AEW heavyweight champion somewhere down the line. And I do think AEW Dynamite, or AEW in general, needs to introduce a mid-card title at some point down the stretch, because they just have too much talent, especially like today's episode, seeing guys like Sammy and Hangman, Kip Sabian, who I'm a big fan of. I think that kid is super underrated. He's probably older than me, and I call him a kid. But I think there needs to be an introduction to a mid-card title. MGF's another one at some point down the line for this company. They just have too much talent. Joey Janela, there's just so much talent, and their mid-card definitely. There needs to be some type of mid-card title introduced, and I think they will somewhere down the line. But the crowd was hot for this match from the get-go, man. They were all over this match. And one of the biggest things I loved about this match was Hangman picking up the W with the buckshot lariat. I think his buckshot lariat should be his official finisher. I love that he used it in this match, and I love that he picked up the win against Sammy. And that just should be his official finisher. It's a great spot. It's a great moveset that he has. I like the way they planted it, the way they set it up, and the crowd loved it. They ate this match up from beginning to end. Very fun match, very great way to start the show, get the crowd hyped, and I was really happy for Hangman with a buckshot lariat. Again, make that his official finisher. Hashtag cowboy shit. That was great. I loved it. I can't wait to see Pac versus Hangman. That match is going to be brutal. And then we get a women's match. A lot of people have been talking about there hasn't been that many women's matches on AEW Dynamite, but we get a very interesting, kind of fun women's match with a brand new woman introduced to the AEW Dynamite crowd on TNT. Shauna, never heard of her, not an expert about her. I'm not also an expert on Hikaru Shida, and I'm not an expert on her either. I'm not going to pretend I am, but man, Shida has some amazing knee shots, man. I mean, she was hitting them out there like V-triggers, and they looked amazing. She had a knee shot on the outside of the ring that looked fantastic. Fun match back and forth, went the distance. It was a pretty long match. I thought it was going to be like a quick Scotch match, especially this being Shauna's pretty much her debut on AEW Dynamite. The crowd was all over Shida. They wanted her to win this. There was like a weird pinfall in between in this match where you thought it was a 3, but it wasn't a 3. She gets up. She kind of it looked like she was celebrating because she thought it was a 3, but she ended up hitting another sick knee, and Shida picks up the win. I thought that match was fantastic. I thought it was a great way to show more women that you have on the roster. And a lot of people have been complaining that they haven't been showing them all that much, but I kind of get it. They're establishing their roster little by little. I would say give them a chance here. They're barely starting. We're barely on week 5 of this show, ladies and gentlemen. And then we get this weird kind of horror witch, video with Brandy Rhodes. We saw what happened last week. Well, I didn't do a review last week because I was hosting the Mats and Marks podcast. But last week, Brandy had this weird segment I personally wasn't a fan of. They showed this like video of a promo kind of Brandy kind of turning into like a witch or something, but they showed Awesome Kong, which I think they're leading up to that. There was definitely again a horror vibe with this episode. It was kind of like the Halloween episode, you know, of AEW. Also, another thing to mention before we continue on this, kind of like the Rick and Morty turnbuckles. I thought that was a great little nice touch that they added to the ring. I thought it was fun. It's a Halloween episode kind of, and it's nice to see a Halloween episode on a wrestling show that doesn't end with some cringy overplayed food fight. Like every time Raw or SmackDown celebrates a holiday, if it's Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, there's always some sort of food fight. I hate when they do that. I thought AEW handled it well, and I think the Rick and Morty stuff perfectly played out. We're going to get to that more. We saw the Rock and Roll Express, one of the most legendary tag teams of all time. Love what they did with them. Absolutely loved it. I love that they were introducing the tag team titles. But one of the best parts, Santana and Ortiz laying them out with a sock full of pennies, a soap, who knows, a loaded sock, taking out the Rock and Roll Express. It was absolutely fantastic. And shout out to Ricky Morton, though, to be taking that bump, getting thrown through the stage. That was a fantastic spot. The Young Bucks come in for the late save. Morton was already through the stage. Santana and Ortiz, man, this tag division in AEW is so unbelievably talented. It's the best tag division in wrestling. I love the way they're using Santana and Ortiz. I love how personal the Young Bucks and Santana and Ortiz are getting. The Inner Circle has just been doing a fantastic job playing the whole villain heel role. They're doing awesome, and we would see them later tonight doing even more amazing evil heelish stuff. But after we see Santana and Ortiz just literally lay out the Rock and Roll Express, we get a cool Toni and Cody moment in the limo where Toni pretty much tells us a nice Dusty Rhodes, my bad. Dustin, we'll get to that in a bit. Dustin's night was not over, by the way. But we get a really cool Toni story about Dusty Rhodes. It was a very nice, story about his father. And I like that with the Rhodes, that he always go back to that. It was a really funny, cool Dusty Rhodes story. And they explained the whole 3 judges elements. If we don't know what they're doing. So Cody Jericho is going to have a 60-minute time limit, but there's going to be a definite winner. So one of the cool things that they're adding to this match is 3 judges at ringside. Very UFC kind of style, boxing style. Well, there is going to be an official winner. There is not going to be a 60-minute draw. We're going to know there's a winner, either pinfall, submission, DQ, or again, if it goes to 60 minutes without a winner, as we've seen with, Okada and Kenny Omega did that in New Japan. If that happens with Cody and Jericho, which I doubt, I see a lot of people saying they don't want to see a Jericho-Cody match for 60 minutes. I highly doubt it goes to full 60 minutes. I think what's going to happen is they're adding the suspense factor that even if it does go to full 60, we're still getting a definite winner from this match. And they established that those 3 judges were going to be there, and the fact that the contract signing, hence the contract signing at AEW, now they're going to make Jericho wait, but they really didn't make him wait all that long. Forgot to mention, sorry this is all over the place. Again, a lot of stuff has been happening in your boy's personal life, so I want to apologize if your boy just like all over the place. The first time in AEW Dynamite TV history that we really see Tony Khan, one of the owners, displayed in kind of a role in the show. Tony Khan opened the show actually with, he was kind of second fiddle after the whole Tony, Cody picking him up from the airport type of thing. But Tony Khan and John Moxley had a back and forth where they established that Kenny's and Moxley's match at AEW's Full Gear will be an unsanctioned lights out match. Now, I don't know what the lights out theory means or what that means for the match itself. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that out. I mean, I heard some people saying that the lights out thing might become like their hardcore title somewhere down the line. Again, I think that's fine because they do need to introduce a mid-card title somewhere down the line. I don't know how I feel about it not affecting the win or loss record. I think that's a way that they're trying to like save space for either guy. They don't want Moxley or Omega to take an L in the record book, so that's what they're making an unsanctioned match. What the lights out part of the whole thing is what really not confuses me, but kind of interests me and kind of scares me a bit, because I feel like AEW's had already too many unsanctioned matches, and I feel like they're adding too many of those stipulations because they don't want to affect the win and loss records that they have introduced, because those play a major role in title matches in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that's just a nice way for them to be like, we don't want Kenny to take the L, or for the L to reflect on their record books, because we want these guys to be in the title picture at some point down the line, and you can't really have them in the title pictures if they have an L in the official record books. So the match between Moxley and Omega will now be unsanctioned completely, and it's called a lights out match, which, I mean, are they going to wrestle in complete darkness? It's going to be very interesting to see how they pull that off. For the Rick and Morty stuff that they were having, this whole crossover with AEW, I enjoyed it. You had Rick and Morty introducing the best friends and Orange Cassidy, the same Orange Cassidy that has the old man Jim Cornette triggered on Twitter every single day, apparently. Orange Cassidy and Joey Ryan. I'm huge fans. As long as you make Cornette unhappy, making him be that old man screaming to the clouds, I'm always going to be a fan of that. And they dressed up cosplaying as Rick and Morty. I enjoy that. Orange Cassidy, super over, unbelievably over. The crowd loves everything that Orange Cassidy has to offer, and I dig it because, you know, he's great. He's entertaining. I don't think he's ruining wrestling. I see people on Twitter, WWE Marks on Twitter, saying that Orange Cassidy is ruining wrestling. Are you kidding me? Tucking that blood money from Saudi Arabia is stuff that could ruin professional wrestling. Not the guy having a fun time as Orange Cassidy. These Jim Cornette fans, man, it's not ruining wrestling. Orange Cassidy is having a blast, and we're having a blast watching him. He's one of the funner parts of AEW Dynamite, and he's just unbelievably over. But again, I really love the way they used the Rick and Morty stuff in this show. It really added to the show. It didn't take away or overshadow AEW Dynamite. The Rick and Morty stuff really actually helped it, and that wasn't the only thing that helped it, but we'll get to that later, because then we have the Chris Jericho Cody contract signing. Now, before we get into this, I hate contract signings. I just do. Maybe because the WWE ones are always so flunky, and so, you know, the tables are always flipped. It's always the same script when it comes to the WWE, you know, title match contract signings that they have every year for these matches. So I've never been a real big fan of contract signings, and I was kind of being very hesitant and questionable about this whole Cody, Chris Jericho, you know, contract signing. But the crowd really added to this contract signing. This crowd was amazing. The Charleston crowd, give yourself a hand, because you were fantastic tonight. You were white hot. You were on fire. You were way over. The chants were fantastic. I love the crowd. They added a lot to this contract signing, because it could have just been another typical contract signing. And I really like that Jericho, you know, mentioned that, you know, I'm not going to flip the table over or power bomb you through a table like every other ordinary basic contract signing in wrestling history. I really love that he mentioned that. And it was a very fun contract signing between La Champion and Cody, talking about this is Cody's biggest match. And it's questionable. It's not questionable, but it's up for debate, because you can talk about his match when he was the Ring of Honor champion, when he won the NWA title, his matches in New Japan. I mean, his match with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Cody's had a huge resume of big title matches, or big matches in general. It's very interesting to think, is this his biggest match ever versus Jericho for an AEW heavyweight title? You let me know down below what your opinion is, if you think this is Cody's biggest match up to date, like Jericho said, or do you think there's another Cody match that is his biggest match? I would love to know that. You get this back and forth between Cody and Jericho. Great promo by Jericho, always on fire, especially when Jericho has a hot crowd to work with that is reacting to everything he's saying. It just elevates Jericho's game to a whole different level. For once, I actually really dug this contract signing, because again, it wasn't your typical old school WWE type of contract signing. It was very cool, and I liked how they incorporated the Inner Circle as well, them attacking Dustin Rhodes. Jack Hager, if you don't know, Jack Hager had an MMA fight a couple of weeks ago, maybe just last weekend. And the match was called because Hager low-blowed his opponent. Well, lo and behold, here tonight, he low-blows with a vicious knee to Dustin's crown jewels, and then just dents his head into the limo, slams the door on Dustin's hand, kayfabe breaking it. You have Jericho walking out with a cigar. It was very perfectly placed. I love that the Inner Circle is just doing absolute damage. Like, they're not just talking about it, they're actually doing work, doing damage out there, playing the whole evil, you know, heel type of group, attacking the Rock and Roll Express, attacking, you know, Dustin Rhodes. All that stuff really adds to the heelish gimmick that is the Inner Circle. And I love what the Inner Circle did today. They're really establishing themselves as not only the biggest heel in AEW, but one of the biggest heel groups in the wrestling world today. So I really enjoyed the whole thing that happened there between Dustin, Rock and Roll Express getting attacked by Inner Circle. Love that contract sign. I think they did a great job writing it, scripting it, and pulling it off. And the crowd just added to the Charleston crowd. Again, absolutely fantastic. We go into the 6-man tag with TH2, Kip Sabian, who I'm a big fan of. I've seen enough of Kip Sabian to know that this guy this kid's going to be a huge star in the making, man. He could wrestle, man. This kid, he has the look. He has the ability. I think Kip Sabian is someone to keep your eye on for the future in AEW Dynamite. They go against the Elite. We get the Street Fighter Young Bucks, which I love. They do this whole Halloween theme with the Elite. Very fun 6-man tag match. Woo! Kenny for the second week in a row hit a beautiful V-trigger in this match. That was absolutely deadly. Loved it. I would love to see Kip Sabian versus Kenny Omega some more. I feel like those two could put on a classic match. And the ending of this match, the Elite did pick up the dub in a very fun, back-and-forth, action-packed match. Some beautiful action sequences, wrestling sequences from one of the best wrestlers in the world, Kenny Omega, unless you ask Kobe, a.k.a. Seth Rollins. I mean, according to Seth Rollins, you can't be the best unless you prove yourself in the WWE. I mean, I guess we should just forget about, Kenny's resume in New Japan, all those other things, because according to Seth Rollins or Kobe, whatever you want to call him, Becca's fiance, you can call him whatever you want. I mean, according to him, you have to prove yourself in the WWE mountaintop to be the best in the world. According to Seth Rollins, of course. Man, Seth, maybe not talk so much. You're talking a little bit too much, brother. But then we get another cool Rick and Morty spot because you have two fans in Rick and Morty masks, which they were showing in the audience throughout the night. They're there. They're kind of celebrating with the Young Bucks. And it turns out to be Santana and Ortiz. And they lay the Young Bucks out. Another great way of using the Rick and Morty gimmick and using that crossover as an addition, as more to a distraction. I love the Rick and Morty stuff they did today. Santana and Ortiz not only attacking the Rock and Roll Express, but coming back later on that night in disguise to attack the Young Bucks again. That was a great spot. I loved it. Loved that 6-man tag match, and I love the way they use Santana and Ortiz in this match, making them those hoodlums, those guys just attacking everybody. That's what the Inner Circle should be, and that's what they're doing, and I love what they're doing with the Inner Circle. Then we get this, the Librarians. Not a fan of the Librarians. I just, the gimmick itself, I love who's playing. That dude's unbelievable. I've seen him a couple of times at bar wrestling as well. I forget his name at the moment, but he's a fantastic worker. I'm not a fan of the Librarian gimmick. I don't think it's working. I think a lot of fans aren't really digging it. But at least the John Moxley coming out, hitting his finisher and dropping an absolutely amazing promo. Gotta admit, my boys, I marked out when he mentioned the Turner executives. WCW nostalgia. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Moxley with a great promo talking about how AEW is protecting their boy Kenny Omega, how the blood of Kenny Omega will be on the hands of all Elite Wrestling. It was a fantastic promo. Whenever you can give John Moxley the microphone, it's kind of like giving Punk the microphone. You don't know what he's going to say, but it's going to be very thrilling, very awesome, very in your face, very personal. Definitely added to the importance of Kenny and Moxley. I do wish that match, again, wasn't unsanctioned. I do have my concerns, but I do wonder what they're really going to establish with this whole lights out gimmicks that they're introducing in this match between Kenny and Moxley. But a absolutely fantastic Moxley promo. I thought Pac was going to come out there at some point during that promo. But again, it feels like they were running out of time. I feel like they started late and time was just passing by. Some of these matches may have went longer than they previously thought. JR also, I want to put this out there. JR was kind of off a little bit today on commentary, especially during the women's match that we got earlier in the night. He wasn't all there really. But hearing him drop a Rick and Morty line, that was actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of cool hearing JR drop a Rick and Morty line. I was a fan of it. Excalibur was fantastic for now. I want to give Excalibur a huge A+. He was definitely the MVP on commentary. Excalibur was absolutely fantastic the entire night, calling the card with JR. I feel like JR was a little bit here and there. He's still the GOAT announcer. But Excalibur was very, very good tonight. Very much loved it. And then we got the tag team match. Again, I talked about at the beginning of this review. I wanted to love that match. And I just feel like winning that match, I'm going to put the notes away. I'm taking this seriously, guys. But I feel like that match was just it was very, not messy. I'm repeating myself, but it felt like there was no cohesiveness. There was no direction. It just felt like they were doing all these things very rushed. I think a lot of them knew the time limit in their heads, and they were just trying to get as much movesets as they can back and forth. My only critique of this show, and this may be my probably least favorite Dynamite show so far. I'm not saying it was a bad show. I'm just saying if I had to compare them to the other 4 episodes we've gotten, I wasn't as big of a fan as this one as I was for last week's or the weeks before. I thought this week was fine. I wasn't a fan of the tag team title match being, won by an inside cradle. I know what happens. There's an element of surprise. I understand that completely. But I had a problem with the execution of the match. And I think it wasn't the Lucha Bros fault. I don't think it was SCU's fault. I just think they didn't have the time that they wanted to really execute what they wanted to execute. Kind of makes me wish that this match took place at Full Gear instead of, at just the AEW Dynamite. I feel like this match was so big, and you're introducing the AEW tag team titles. You're giving it to somebody. You're giving it to somebody for the first time. Somebody's winning these titles for the first time in history of AEW Dynamite. I feel like an inside cradle was just very anticlimactic and just not what a lot of us expected. I don't think that crowd was particularly excited about the ending of that match as well. I'm happy for SCU. My bad. I'm sure the Lucha Bros will eventually get their shot at the tag team titles at some point as well. But, I think that match could have had a better finish or a wrap up to it. But, boys, another successful AEW Dynamite review, hopefully. But another successful AEW Dynamite. It's going to be interesting to see how the ratings look. I have a feeling, I don't know. I have a feeling NXT is going to do really good this week. I think they were trending over Dynamite tonight. Not by a lot. I think they were like number 4 and Dynamite was number 5. But I think NXT is going to be a lot closer with Dynamite this week, review-wise. This is a prediction. I just have a feeling they had Poppy there as well, doing some performance. So I think NXT may be a little bit closer review-wise when it comes with AEW Dynamite. I just feel like this Halloween episode, I don't think it was lackluster. I think a lot had happened. I think it was a fantastic Halloween episode. But I think that it didn't really deliver like I expected. I think the delivery of tonight's AEW Dynamite didn't have the same impact, and that's no pun intended. Nobody go tell heel RVD that I mentioned impact, because RVD is going off on Twitter. I mean, heel RVD might be my favorite thing right now, but that's Impact last night did pretty well. I'll give Impact credit. I'm very excited to see how they do it on Access Television. But I think this AEW Dynamite, I enjoyed it, but I think the delivery was very rushed, not sloppy, just rushed. And I think that was a problem they had tonight, was time management. The biggest critique, time management was not well done during tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. And it's going to be very interesting to see the ratings, because I think NXT may have done better this week. It's going to be interesting to see those ratings tomorrow when they're released. I mean, AEW Dynamite should be feeling pretty good. I mean, last week they had better ratings than NXT and SmackDown Live, which is a huge W for AEW Dynamite. But I'm very interested to see how they pull this off, the ratings, how they look this week, because I think NXT did better than they have been doing. I think you're going to see NXT in the 800,000s, and we'll see AEW probably stay still at the 900,000s. SmackDown last week was at the 800,000s. A lot of people said it because it was a move to FS1, but we'll see moving forward. My boys, if you like this video, slap that thumb, subscribe, join the Hollywood Quick, comment down below if you watched AEW Dynamite. I would love to know your guys' review, your guys' opinion. Comment in the comment section. I don't know if I'm uploading tomorrow. I will try to upload tomorrow as much as I can, or, I'll try to give you guys a top 10 NXT moments reaction. If it doesn't come tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to upload it tomorrow night, so hope you guys still watch it. There's just a lot of things going on in your boy's personal life. I put what was happening on my community feed, so if you missed that, go check that out. That's why I've kind of been all over the place. That's why uploads this week may be a little weird. I just kind of all over the place. A lot of stuff going on. But I wanted to give you guys this long video to hold you guys hopefully over, just in the case that I don't upload for the rest of the week or whatever happens. I'm going to try to upload tomorrow night, though, and Saturday as well. Those WWE top 10 moments, if WWE doesn't, block the videos. Raw, if you're wondering what happens to the top 10 Raw moments, I wanted to. Again, I couldn't yesterday anyways because I was busy all day yesterday. But part of me didn't really want to do it anyways on the real. I love doing them, but at the same time, Raw has been so bad the last couple of weeks. I can't bring myself to do it. But again, I had no time to do it yesterday anyways. So if you're wondering why I didn't do that, just because your boy was absolutely busy yesterday. I was busy today as well. Probably going to be busy tomorrow. Things will calm down eventually, though, and we'll get back to daily uploads. That's going to happen. Might drop a vlog. It's not going to be the greatest vlog. It's probably just going to be all the things I did in October. So making sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. Not promising you that. Maybe. It's a maybe. Maybe I'll upload that tomorrow just to hold you guys over. But hopefully this holds you guys over because it's probably like a 20-minute episode. It's going to take forever for me to edit and upload. So my boys, I will maybe see you guys tomorrow. If I don't, I will see you guys soon. Comment down below. Subscribe, join the Hollywood Quick. Slap that thumb for your boy. And I will see you guys later on. I'll see you when I see you. It will be soon, I promise. It'll probably be early as tomorrow. I'm just giving you guys a heads up just in case you guys don't see me for a couple of days. Just because life's kind of crazy like that. I will see you guys later on. You guys enjoy your night. Too sweet.